CompensatoryRadio.com. We give you a reason to come. The world's greatest radio. We give you a reason to stay. Radio, the way it should be heard. You got the power.
The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guest and not necessarily those of TalkTainmentRadio.com, the management, the staff, or K&E World Network, LLC.
Live call-in talk show. Dial 1-877-932-9766 and join the conversation here on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
This is the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio. Radio, the way it should be heard. And now, Mr. Neely Fuller.
If you do not understand white supremacy, which is racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Only confuse you. Only confuse you.
All righty. Good morning and welcome to TalkTainmentRadio.com. We go where you go on the world's greatest radio, and now you are in touch with the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. I am your co-host, Mr. Bobby, and this is radio the way it should be heard. Listen here, I have this announcement to make before we get started. Listen, you can hear the Compensatory Concept live on our website at TalkTainmentRadio.com. To watch the live broadcast of the Compensatory Concept show, go to YouTube and type in the word Talktainment. Hit the space bar and type in the word radio. Scroll down to the Talktainment #2 live on YouTube and watch the live broadcast of the Compensatory Concept. Then check out for the replay on Talktainment #2 live on YouTube and Facebook.com/Talktainment. And while you're at it, please like us and subscribe. Thank you. I'll be reading that over and over during the broadcast as we are now on I got to get used to it, YouTube. Yeah, YouTube watching live. Yeah, we're going to do that. Okay, here. Now, you know the numbers to call in are at 1-877-932-9766, or you can Gmail me at the numero 7, Mr. Bobby, at gmail.com. And to be truthful about it, I will not be able to read your email or Gmails over the air on this one because I have about 30 or 40 of them in line, but I will be able to get to them. So if you are expecting to have your email read today, that you send in today, it's not going to happen. No, I do that. And also do me a favor, let me get through before you make your phone calls, although somebody is on now, we're going to honor that, but the program has just begun and there are certain things that I have to go through. So let me introduce to you on the line live now from Washington, D.C., Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. Mr. Fuller, good morning.
Good morning.
And Mr. Fuller, this day, how are you?
I'm still learning.
You are still learning. Okay, we are.
And today, I would like to get to as many questions as I possibly can.
Oh, all righty. Very good. Very good.
Deal with the eighth area of activity because I've been getting sort of a backlog of people saying that they have questions that are pressing. And I think that's sort of like a priority.
So would you rather take the phone calls first then and not the Gmails?
Oh, the emails are fine, whichever order you want. But I was talking about the eighth area of activity.
Yes.
I would like to upstage that today, if possible, and possibly for the foreseeable future, because there are so many people who say they are not getting their questions and that they have pressing things on their minds. And the compensatory concept is to deal with things when they're the most imperative.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, I'll tell you what. Then let's start now. Let's take the phone call, Ed. All right, caller, you're on with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Bobby and Mr. Fuller. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Okay, I have 2 yes or no questions in the statement.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so, Mr. Fuller, if white people were not on the planet, will white supremacy still exist?
If white people were not on the planet,
would white supremacy still exist?
Still exist?
Yes, sir.
Not logically speaking. You have to have white people in order to have white supremacy.
Okay.
You can have mistreatment of people in any setting.
Yes, sir.
And white supremacy is a form of mistreatment. See, the key word here is mistreatment. That's all you have to look for. Is anybody being mistreated? Because if somebody's being mistreated, that is a no-no anywhere on the planet. No one is supposed to be mistreated. We have to start with that concept.
Black people
and then work
did
back
not
from
exist
that.
on the planet, would white supremacy still exist?
If what now?
If black people did not, non-white people did not exist on the planet, would white supremacy still exist?
No. You have to have non-white people in order to have white supremacy, because that's what white supremacy is aimed at, non-white people. It's an invention in the minds of people of a way to mistreat people based on color. If people are not classified by color, you can't have racism at all. Racism is about color. Mistreating people based on color.
Yes, sir. Can I make a statement?
Go ahead. Make your statement.
Make it as brief as possible, because we're trying to get
yes,
questions.
sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so just like you have a parent and a child, if that parent mistreats that child, or if that parent gives everything that child needs, the parent is still supreme over the child. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay. 1-877-932-9766 is the number that you can call to get in contact with the show, or the numeral 7, Mr. Bobby, at gmail.com. Speaking about that, let's go to the Gmails. This comes from Anthony. He says, Mr. Fuller, why do the white supremacists like to give guns and ammos and helicopters to its enemies like Trump did with Saudi Arabia?
Well, I can't address directly, according to the code, Mr. Trump and so-called countries like Saudi Arabia or anything that's in the popular news. I address it within the context of the compensatory counter-racist concept that deals strictly with white supremacists and their victims. So I put everything within that context, since the white supremacist government is the government of the planet, according to compensatory counter-racist logic. So I'm saying, what do the white supremacists, the question would be then, in that context, what do the white supremacists do as far as giving arms to non-white people? If that is the question, that's the way the question would be framed within the context of the compensatory code. So answering the question from that perspective, if a white supremacist gives a gun to a non-white person, what is the intent? The intent of that white supremacist is for that non-white person to carry out the mission of the system of white supremacy, because the white supremacists don't do anything, directly or indirectly, without the intention. Now, it might not work out that way, but they have the definite intention of giving more strength to the system of white supremacy, regardless of what they do or how they do it. That is the ultimate objective. And they will give arms to non-white people. They do it all the time in a place that is called so-called Africa and different parts of the world, in what you call, quote-unquote, Latin America, et cetera, et cetera. The white supremacists are always busy seeing to it that the people who are classified as non-white are given efficient weapons so that they can slaughter each other. Once they start operating outside of that, outside of the mission of the white supremacists, then the white supremacists make a crackdown on them. But anything that's harmful to non-white people, the white supremacists are always, always in favor of it.
Okay, 1-877-932-9766 is the number that you can get in contact with the show, or the numeral 7, Mr. Bobby at gmail.com. You can also access the program that way. We are still in the 8th area of people activity, which is sex, but as Mr. Fuller stated, according to his backlog that he's getting, I guess the people want to, could you repeat what you said, Mr. Fuller, that you're having a backlog of what now?
Oh, it's just that a lot of people are saying they are calling in and they're not getting their questions in because of the limited time and because of people sometimes making statements
rather
than asking questions, and also probably indirectly alluding to me emphasizing my 8th area or whatever area that I'm in and staying too long on it, and they are not getting their questions answered. And I just made a decision that maybe I should pay attention to what the people want who are supporting the station. All right? If that's okay.
Well,
with everybody aboard.
It's okay with me. There's a lot more area in the or a lot more questions in the 8th area, but if you'd like to move on, we can, and that would be the 9th area, which you know what that is, and I don't know if you'd want to.
No, I don't want to address the 9th area at all.
Okay, so then we'll go back to the 1st area then once we complete today's program, if that's okay with you.
Well, if possible, I'd just like to take the calls.
Okay, well,
right, because Steve, when people are on the line, they are calling, they are taking up their time, and they're showing interest in what is being said.
Okay,
and so I think that should be given compensatory consideration.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it. Call in. Mr. Fuller's ready for you. 1-877-932-9766 is the number that you can call to speak with Mr. Fuller. He would love to take your phone calls. In the meantime, let's go to the Gmails and let's do this. This comes from Mr. Darius, Franz Darius. He says, Mr. Fuller, true whites are blonde and blue-eyed. Everyone else is colored or mixed. Mr. Fuller, are all supremacists white?
All white supremacists are classified as white, and because the white supremacists, by being supreme, do the classifying. There are lots of black people who look like physically, and if you look at them, you're looking at them every day all over the planet, who look exactly like they are white people. What the white supremacists say is they're not white people. You have some black blood. You have some Negro blood. I can trace it, and I do the tracing. I don't pay any attention to what you say. I pay attention to what I say. And I'm saying you have one drop of Negro and or African blood. You are of African heritage, and I happen to have verification for that. And if the non-white person says, well, wait a minute, what are you basing your verification on? And this doesn't make sense. And, you know, I'm just as white as you are. And they said, look, I said you are not white. End of story. Boy, girl, I said it. I'm supreme. You're not. I do the classifying. And I can switch it around tomorrow morning or the next 5 minutes if I want to. You don't have any say-so because you are subservient to me. And that's the way it's been since the beginning of the system of white supremacy. They do the classifying, not Neely Fuller, not anybody else. And anybody who ever tests them on it, they'll tell you, I do the classifying. I say who's white. And I can say that a person is white in the morning, and I have done it. And in the afternoon, they are non-white. Why? Because I said so. I make the arrangements according to color, everywhere on the planet, 24 hours a day. According to what? My convenience. That's what. And they make it stick. And they have made it stick. And no one has been able to contest it. No one has had that kind of muscle. No one non-white.
All righty. All righty, there you have it. We have a phone call. What line are we on here? I can't see you. Line number 2? Okay. 3? Okay. Line number 3, you're on with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. What is your question?
Good day, gentlemen. Always a pleasure. I'm always in problem-solving mode, and the people I talk with, I do. But I noticed not many, shall I say, it's hard to defeat a system where you're indoctrinated so deeply as a child, as adult, all the time being indoctrinated in. So the message we're giving, or with the system we're trying to change, we're a very small message. I just don't see how, being as weak as we are against something so powerful, how could you defeat it when you don't even have any control of any areas of activity, and you depend on the very enemy that you're trying to defeat, or system? You depend on that for food, water, shelter, clothing, et cetera, et cetera. But the only way I can see it is if we want to farm or do things more independent, we have to be able to get off the breast of this system in order to defeat it. I don't see how we can depend on this system and defeat it at the same time. I just don't see that happening. I've never seen that happen in recorded history, matter of fact, being logical about it. So I see we have to be independent. We have to become more independent, more off-the-grid living, learn how to farm, learn how to do the things the universal man and universal woman should be able to do, that we're allowed to do as much as we can do to become as independent as we can to get strength to fight the system. Well, that's my question or remark. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Fuller, response to that?
I couldn't hear anything. I hear Dr. Wilson's voice. I hear someone talking. I hear a multiple number of people talking. I didn't hear any of that.
Okay. Do you hear Dr. Wilson's voice now?
No, I don't hear it.
Okay.
And I didn't hear the person. It seems like there was another person talking.
Okay, yeah.
And I hear Dr. Wilson's voice coming in now.
Okay. Let's see. All righty, let's do this here. Let me do this while we get that worked out. Talktainment Radio is a 24/7 no-charge worldwide broadcasting facility with hosts delivering on various topics such as news and lifestyle, sports, law, health, wellness, religion, and politics. Now, let me share a couple with you. You've heard these before, but we are going to share them again. You can go at the table with Al Warner. That's one show you can do. How about this one, All in the Family with S. Yolanda Robinson? And how about this one, Real Men with Pastor Banks? Now, all these shows are exclusive to TalkTainmentRadio.com, and all you have to do is go to the TalkTainmentRadio.com homepage and click on Programs, and then you can click on the selected show of your choice. That's exclusive from TalkTainmentRadio.com. That's radio the way it should be heard. And speaking about this, listen to this. You can hear the compensatory concept live on our website at TalkTainmentRadio.com. Well, you already know that, but listen to this. To watch the live broadcast of the compensatory concept show, go to YouTube and type in the word Talktainment. Hit the space bar and type in the word radio. Scroll down to the Talktainment #2 live on YouTube and watch the live broadcast of the compensatory concept. Then check out for a replay on Talktainment #2 live on YouTube and also on Facebook.com/Talktainment. That's where you can see and hear the program, get a replay of today's show. And I think there might be other shows on there too. But anyway, you can do that. Okay, 1-877-932-9766. Mr. Fuller said that he would like to hear from you, so now is your chance to call in and ask Mr. Fuller your question. You can do that right now. He said that this is what he's been getting a lot of feedback, and people have been waiting and wanting to call in. Okay, here it is. Now is your chance. Call in, 1-877.
That also includes the emails, too.
Also, okay, and Gmails, too. So we're going to do that, too. So call in or at 1-877. 932-9766, or you can Gmail me at the numeral 7, Mr. Bobby at gmail.com. We're going to go through them. So now it's up to you. You said it. He responded to it, and so here we go. Okay, going to the Gmails, Mr. Fuller. This comes from Root Dog, and this has to do with a radio show host out in California. I heard, but I didn't see the program. Anyway, the guy's name is Bill Handel. He's the host of the popular Bill Handel morning show on KFI 600 in Los Angeles. He on his calling of Florida Congresswoman Frederica Wilson a, quote, cheap, sleazy Democratic whore, end of quote. And I guess he's standing by his original comments and clarifying he should have called her a media whore. I don't understand what this meant, but your comment on this, is this the right thing to do, or have you heard this, or what's going on here?
You never call any person, according to the code. Compensatory code says you never call any person by any name except the name that the person wants to be called. Always call people by the name that he or she wants to be called, has to be called. And you let people know the name that you want to be called by. Now, if people call you a name other than that, then that's their choice. But you just say, well, that's what the person said that they're going to call me. Anybody can call Neely Fuller by any name or title that they want to call Neely Fuller. But I will say I go by the name Neely Fuller and the title of victim of white supremacy. I'm more of that than I am anything. That's how I got the name Neely Fuller, as a result of the system of white supremacy, according to what logic and what everybody tells me. I mean, all the information that has come to me, it came from the name of white people or white persons who were named Fuller, and somebody did some tracking, and that's where they say the name came from slave owners. So I go by that name, and by that name, I am a victim of the system of white supremacy. That's my title, okay? So I just go by it because that's what I am, and I have never been anything else. But I am trying to be something else, like no longer a victim of white supremacy, in which case then I can consider some other name. But up till then, any name that anybody chooses to call me, after I give them the name that I am going by, and they say, well, I'm not going to call you that, I'm going to call you, and they might say the N-word. That's what I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you, your last name will be Neely, and your first name will be the N-word. So the N-word plus Neely. How about that? And that's what I'm going to call you. Well, that's what you choose to call me. Go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you from calling me whatever you want to call me. That's between you and yourself. See, so, I told you what my name is, told you what my title is, more than any other title that I can carry. Victim of white supremacy. That is my functional title. I'm more of that than I am anything else 24 hours a day.
Okay. Let's do this. From the YouTube comment line, let's see. Chris Style, 405, saying hello from Oklahoma City. Siano Logan, hello from St. Louis. She says, or good morning to all. Octopi says good morning from D.C., Washington, D.C., and Brittany Jackson, hello from Dallas. Dallas is in the house. I should be down then next week. Okay, Brittany Jackson. All right, 1-877-932-9766 is the number that you can call to get into the show. Also, if you want to Gmail the show, you can, 7, the numeral 7, Mr. Bobby, BOBBY at gmail.com, and I will read them. Okay, let's do this. Let's read this one here. Let's see. It's from Rahab Singho says this. Good morning, Mr. Fuller. Why is it that so many white men engage in sexual activity and have tragic arrangements with Asian females more so than other non-white females? And what do you believe the agenda is behind this?
The agenda is the expansion and refinement of the system of white supremacy, in my opinion, and according to logic. You have the system of white supremacy in place, and if it seems like people who are classified as quote-unquote Asian and are among those non-white people, the white supremacists say, hey, what we have got to do, we have got to get our people out here, pair off sexually with as many of those people as we possibly can in order to establish ourselves like we want to be with them so that we can consolidate our power. This is what we do. We only have sexual intercourse with people that we are going to empower ourselves over. And we will control the amount of that sexual activity. We will not let them control it. We'll definitely not let them control it. But we will initiate it, or we will even sometimes pretend that we're letting them control it. All right, that's a part of our deception. But our whole idea is to keep them close enough to us that we'll have white men in the system of white supremacy spread themselves out among the women that females that we call Chinese or Indonesian or Indian, or generally speaking, quote-unquote, Asian peoples. But we will have limited numbers assigned to do this. But we will increase those numbers according to whatever we think is good for the business of white supremacy. That's the whole purpose. It's not serving any other purpose, but we'll make it look like it's all about love. It has to do with power. The system of white supremacy, refining its power. That's all it is.
Wow. Has to do with power. Okay, we got about 3 minutes? Okay. I'll see if we can do this in 3 minutes, Mr. Fuller. This is a Gmail. Don't forget, you can call in now. The phone lines are open. This is what you wanted. The phone lines are now open. 1-877-932-9766. Okay, they got two minutes before we have to go to break, so I'm not going to read this one right now. While we have this particular 2-minute Mr. Fuller gap here, speak to an issue here for a minute and a half now before we go to commercial. What you would like to speak to for this minute and a half.
Oh, you mean the getting of the book?
You could do that, but if it's going to take over a minute and a half, then you can't do that because we got to go to commercial.
Okay. Right. Just go to producejustice.com. Producejustice.com. And what will come up on the screen is a brief description of a basic textbook and also an addition volume to the basic textbook that came out in 2010, and that is a compensatory counter-racist codified word guide. And that's a guide that's designed, it's not exactly like a dictionary, but it's similar to a dictionary and or a small encyclopedia in that it gives some direction about how to use words as a victim of racism and how not to use words, what questions to ask when certain words are used.
All righty. TalkTainmentRadio.com. We go where you go. And you can check us out on 94.1 WGRN. Podcasts are available. Download the TalkTainmentRadio.com app to your cell or to your tablet. That's radio the way it should be heard. Stay right there. We have more of your Gmails. Call in. More of your questions. All that and much more coming up next on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
Pastor Clifford Riley and the congregation at Mount Gerizim Missionary Baptist Church cordially invite you to worship with us. Yes, come to the Mountain of Blessings for a spirited, love-filled experience. Our Sunday services and twice on Wednesday Bible study will change your life. We are located at 2633 Mock Road, and our phone number is 614-475-9712. Again, 2633 Mock Road, or call 614-475-9712.
Are you ready to earn a certification in healthcare, business, or manufacturing while achieving your high school diploma? Then you're ready for Life Skills High School, a free public school option for Ohio students 16 to 21 years old. Learn more about your free high school educational options at lifeskillshs.org.
Queen's Legacy of Love 12 brand launch and grand opening. Currently looking for hosts, photographers, models, dancers, entertainers, ushers, comedians, production managers, model coordinators, stage crew, vendors, volunteers, sponsors, public relations and media personnel, and extras. Contact ggoldqqueen22@yahoo.com.
Queens of Queens.
Stand by for an important announcement. Mortgage interest rates are the lowest in history. Did you hear that? Mortgage interest rates are the lowest in history. You can buy a home from Lenco Realty for less than rent. For details, call 614-375-2BUY. That's 614-375-2289, or log on to repohomelist.com. That's repohomelist.com and claim your American dream.
For the best home fragrance and beauty products, shop Ash Kickin' online.
That's ASHKICKIN.
Made with 100% natural quality ingredients and handcrafted with your family in mind, Ash Kickin' products are better than those other guys. Ash Kickin' candles, incense, body butter, face moisturizer, and hair moisturizer are priced just right, and you can get yours at 10% off with coupon code TALK17. Support this 100% black-owned business and get your home and body smelling and feeling all right.
That's ASHKICKIN.
Shop Ash Kickin' online at www.ashkickin.com.
This is Al Edmondson, owner of a Cutter Brother Rest Barbershop. I'm calling on all barbers and beauticians. It's time for us to unite as one. We can serve our communities better together. Join the Ohio Black Barber Beauty Network. For more information, visit www.obbn.org or call 614-427-3226 to get more information. Be the change that you want to see in your community. Join our network.
If you or someone you know is abusing drugs and or alcohol and want to stop the abuse, contact APDS at 1409 East Livingston Avenue. Office hours are 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily and 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. APDS is certified by the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services and primarily funded through the Adam H. Board. Fees are based on your income and Medicaid is always accepted. For more information, call 614-253-4448.
Think fast. In less than 30 seconds, a small flame can become a big fire. Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and keep heaters 3 feet away from anything that can burn. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
Do you have problems controlling high blood pressure? Good news. You can enroll in Helping Hands Health and Wellness Center's health coaching program utilizing the innovative Twine Health platform. We will help you set your goals, keep in touch with you via your cell phone, and may provide you a free blood pressure cuff. Call us at 614-462-0114 or visit us on the web at www.helpinghandsfreeclinic.org to see if you qualify. This program is provided to you by a grant from the CVS Health Foundation.
See that cute little dog in the pet store? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppies to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. Visit bestfriends.org/puppy mills to learn more.
I've got the water, energy bars, and camera. I think we're set for the hike.
Almost. We need to protect our skin. Don't forget your wide-brimmed hat and sunscreen.
All right. I've got the hat. I've got SPF 30. Will that work?
Yeah, anything 15 or higher is good. Just make sure it says broad spectrum.
Great. Got it. I am not getting burned again. Let's go.
Learn more at cdc.gov/cancer.
Families affected by disasters urgently need support. Help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to those affected by disasters, big and small. Donate to Red Cross Disaster Relief. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Live call-in talk show. Dial 1-877-932-9766 and join the conversation here on TalkTimidRadio.com.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Go ahead. Make my day.
You got the power.
Okay, TalkTainmentRadio.com. We go where you go. Download the TalkTainmentRadio.com app to your cell or to your tablet. That's your radio the way it should be heard. Hi, I am Mr. Bobby. I'm the co-host on the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. We are in the 8th area of people activity, sex, in the system of racism and white supremacy. If you have any calls, Mr. Fuller's requested that you go ahead and call in and he will answer your call. So you can do that by calling 1-877-932-9766, or you can Gmail me at the numero 7, Mr. Bobby, BOBBY at gmail.com. And while I'm on that, let me read this. You can hear the Compensatory Concept live on our website at TalkTainmentRadio.com. To watch the live broadcast of the Compensatory Concept show, go to YouTube and type in the word Talktainment. Hit the space bar and type in the word radio. Then scroll down to the Talktainment #2 live on YouTube and watch the live broadcast of the Compensatory Concept. Then check out for the replay on Talktainment 2 live on YouTube and also on Facebook.com/Talktainment. So that's how you can access the show. Also, you can do this, 1-877-932-9766. And let me get some shout outs to Anthony Weeks, saying thanks for the logic. Drew Brown, hello from New Jersey. And Drew Brown, he forgot Anthony. And Anthony Weeks. So I didn't kick you to the curb, Mr. Anthony Weeks. I'm sorry, but he's laughing. He was just teasing. But these are some of the things that we are developing our technology and calling in, and so that we can read your comments and so forth. So we're doing it as best as we can, mistakes and all. But anyway, good morning to all. Okay, Mr. Fuller. Let me read this here. Mr. Fuller has in his book, it's been on the screen a few times, but the United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. He has written on page 320, and you might want to read that for yourself. We're not going to have Mr. Fuller do that, but remarks especially to non-white males. You might want to check that out. But he does address nudity on page 322. That's of the revised edition of the book, revised and expanded edition of the Compensatory Concept. And then he also, on page 323, whore and prostitutes he addressed. And one of the things on that, on page 322, Mr. Fuller, there we go, page 322, in the middle, under nudity, you said this, then I would like you to address it. You said, during the existence of white supremacy, racism, deliberately promote nakedness and or nudity of the persons only if such nakedness and or nudity best helps to promote the replacement of the system of white supremacy with the system of justice. What do you mean by that, Mr. Fuller?
Because people have different ideas about the value of nudity in art. I mean, sometimes they show people in the nude, and then in other situations they say that nudity is somehow vulgar or profane. So, and then they say different parts of the body may be, if they're exposed, that is somehow insulting or it's not characteristic of the society, or et cetera, et cetera. There's controversy a lot about even if a woman is breastfeeding, they say she's exposing her breast, and that is somehow vulgar among some people under some circumstances. And it is the feeding of a child from the breast, because they say the breast is something that should not be exposed. And then there are other people who say, well, what's wrong with the breast being exposed if the mouth of a person is exposed and no one covers the mouth? People don't walk around with anything covering their mouth, and that has to do with the intake of food, et cetera, but it's there for everyone to see. And people speak with their mouths, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's always very controversial, depends on whose point of view is being expressed. So then other parts of the body, I mean, some people say that it's all right to expose the rear end of a person, the buttocks, but not the front part of a person. They sometimes refer to it as frontal nudity, and that is somehow supposed to be prohibited. And so that becomes controversial. So the criteria for counter-racist purposes is whatever works to better counteract the effects or give strength to the system of white supremacy. That should be the major consideration in anything, not only when it comes to nudity and nakedness, but when it comes to anything, any area of activity. The question is, does it give strength to the system of white supremacy, or does it weaken the system of white supremacy? That's the only criteria for anything, not only in sex, but in economic, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, or war. Does it or does it not, regardless of what it is, regardless of what the customs are, does it give strength to the system of white supremacy, or does it weaken the system of white supremacy in a manner that helps to produce a replacement for it? And that replacement would be justice, which means guaranteeing that no person is mistreated and guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All righty. Now, I know up on Facebook, or rather, excuse me, I keep saying that, so excuse me. On YouTube, we're fixing it so that people can actually see the pages on that in the United Independent Compensatory Code System Contact. That's in the revised and expanded edition. We have that, or should have that up on the screen where people can actually see that where you speak or spoke to just now to nudity. There's also a section on whore and prostitute. I'll tell you what, let's take this phone call. What line number one so I can see you? Line number, what is that, one? Okay, line number one. You are now on with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. What is your question?
Hey, good morning, Mr. Fuller and Mr. Bobby. Question for you, Mr. Fuller. I heard you say many times victims of white supremacy should study what white people are doing. So I do that when I'm traveling. I tend to find sometimes I drift off because it looks like they're not doing anything but sitting, and I kind of lose focus. I wonder if you had any suggestions on how to stay focused if it appears maybe they're pretending they want to not be noticed, so they're appearing not to do anything. I wonder if you had any suggestions on how to stay focused on what they're doing.
Oh, okay. Thank you, my brother. Mr. Fuller?
Oh, well, if you pay attention to that and you come to that conclusion, that might be what the conclusion is. You come to your own conclusions about what you're looking at. Based on what? Based on logic.
Logic,
and then look around at everything that's going on around the entire setting. You know, if you are traveling on a subway or something like that, you say, well, nobody's doing anything in particular. They're just riding. And I'm looking at people, both white and non-white, and they're just rioting. Now you look at the greater context. Rioting where? And you might ask yourself, where are the people going? Are they all going to the same place? And if they're not going to the same place, what is the difference between one place that some people are going to and the other place that other people are going to? You might see people getting off in different neighborhoods. You might notice that. As the subway comes to a stop here, comes to a stop there, and you notice mostly black people maybe getting off of the subway at this particular stop. And then 3 stops or next, you see both black people and white people getting off or getting on. And then maybe 3 stops from that, you see large numbers of white people exiting at this particular stop. And you might look around the car then, and there's nobody but black people left on the car.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that might tell you something. Right there. Right there. Ask that question. Why is it that at this particular stop, almost all of the white people who were left on this particular car or this particular train exit at this particular area? And then I noticed from here on, it's nothing but black people. And then you might look out the window, if you're above ground, of that transit train. And you might see, when you look out the window, when nothing but black people are left on the train, everything that you see out the window looks like it's run down, look like it's falling apart, all boarded up. You see people staggering down the street maybe with wine bottles in their hands, or you see people fighting, or you just see empty vacant lots of trash piled up, garbage cans overflowing. And as you go further and further, and nobody but black people, maybe 1 or 2 white people that forgot to get off at their stop because they were asleep. And so that might tell you something right there about the society that you're in.
Yes. Yes. Okay. 1-877-932-9766. By the way, thank you for your call. Is a number that you can call to get in contact with the show. And let me give Brother Anthony Weeks another shout out, LOL, since I missed him the first time, but we got him. That came from the YouTube section, so that's good. We are now on YouTube. As a matter of fact, let me read this. You can hear the compensatory concept live on our website at talktainmentradio.com. Well, you already know that, but listen to this. To watch the live broadcast of the compensatory concept show, go to YouTube and type in the word Talktainment. Hit the space bar and then type in the word radio. Scroll down to the Talktainment #2 live on YouTube and watch the live broadcast of the compensatory concept. How about that? Then, how about this? Check out for the replay on Talktainment #2 live on YouTube and also on Facebook.com/Talktainment. You can do that. Let's do this. Let's take this phone call. What line am I on here? Okay, 1. Okay, thank you. Line number 1, you are on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Neely Fuller. I have 2 questions today. One question. Why have the revolutionaries, quote, unquote, and people who are fighting the system of white supremacy globally and historically, why do they leave out the white female as part of their enemy? Number 2, Mr. Fuller, why do you believe that the code has not ended this mess yet? It's helped many of us with tactics to deal with white supremacy, but what has to be the crucial blow to bring the whole system down? Okay, in answer to the first question, people just got
in the habit, for whatever reason, of saying.
Wait a minute, excuse me, Mr. Fuller. I'm hearing some feedback.
I hear feedback too.
Yeah, can we fix that? Okay, Mr. Fuller, go ahead.
I hear people, and have down through the years, say the white man this, the white man that. Well, in the system of white supremacy, you have to have white men and white women. Otherwise, that white supremacy system is not going to work. So all through the code book, I say racist man and racist woman. They are corporation. They have to work with each other, even though they might fight each other in the individual houses and all like that. But that doesn't really count. I mean, because they have a united front when it comes to non-white people. They have proven that down through their history. And the white supremacist female is just as instrumental in supporting the system of white supremacy. Those who do. Not all white people now, but those who do. They have just as much interest in supporting the system of white supremacy as the white male. So it's racist man plus racist woman. So people should keep that in mind.
Also, I think we should add racist child.
Oh, there's no such thing as a racist child, because if you're a racist, you're not a child. There's no
So
such
starting
thing.
at 10, 9, 8, 7, when they're old enough to practice it, it doesn't matter the age.
But a racist child is not a child.
Okay.
See what I mean? That's just a white child.
Okay.
See, you have to be aware of your colors. All right. Now you are a child. You're a white child if you are not aware of color.
I got
But you are not a child once you have become aware of color, and you know the difference between a white person and a non-white person, and you start acting on that difference. Okay. Now you are no longer a child. You are a full-grown person if you are classified as white in the system of white supremacy.
Okay.
And what was your second question, dear?
And the second question was...
why, with all that you have put out here and people are trying to tap into destroying white supremacy, why has not the death knell destroyed the system yet? What is your analysis on that?
Oh, because people do not understand the system of white supremacy. I mean, when you talk to people and you mention the system of white supremacy, that's not a popular term. And people, it's an alien language. People don't even know what you're talking about. What do you mean, system of white supremacy? People tell me that, even today.
Oh.
It's because it's not popular. It's not understood that it's an entire world system. Very few people look at it that way. Most what we call racism is looked upon by the average black person, for example, as something you run into every now and then. Oh, we got some... I think we got a couple of racists on the job where I work. They will say that somebody used the N-word to me last year. And, that guy was a racist, or that lady was a racist. I know she did because she called me the N-word. And so, I run into this every now and then. I'm beginning to run into it more and more.
Yes.
Last year I ran into it 3 times. And the year before, I ran into it 1 time. And they kind of keep score that way, rather than thinking of it as a 24-hour-a-day worldwide government that covers every area of activity, every move that every black person on this planet makes in economics, in education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And it's a 24/7 enterprise. But the average victim of racism just sees it as what you call racial incidents. Or I believe that town over there in that section may have maybe as many as 30 or 40 racists. That's the way non-white people look at racism. I think it might be at least 40 or 50 over there in that section of town.
Yes.
Or or over there in such and such a place, we hear that it's racist, or this company, it's got some racists working in that company. Rather than looking at it, hey, the entire world, this planet Earth is dominated by people who believe in white supremacy, period. We don't look at it like that. And until we look at it like that, we're not going to make any mileage at all.
Okay. 1-877-932-9766 is the number you call. Line number 3, you're on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead. Go ahead, line number 3, you're on.
I hear some beeping.
Okay, they're not there. Okay, let's do this. We didn't give, unless that's them calling back. Wait a minute. Let's see here. If that's them, we can get this call in before I do the next thing. Are we ready? Are we still on line 3? Just a minute, Mr. Fuller. Okay, line 3, go ahead. You're on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead.
Oh, hi. My name's Gregory, and I'm a hairstylist by profession. And I just want to know Mr. Fuller's thoughts on something. I just noticed that, like, when black women wear extensions, they're always straighter hair, and the fact that all clowns always wear afros. If you ever see a clown, they always have an afro as far as hairstyle. I'd just see what Mr. Fuller's thoughts are or something like that.
Okay, Mr. Fuller, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I hope I understand the question, but is the question about black hair?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just noticed, like, if I ever see clowns, they always have afro as far as their hair is, even though it's in different colors and wild, vivid colors, but it's always afro. And I just seem like we as black people, like, we don't like our own hair.
Mr. Fuller?
Well, hair has always been a serious problem in the system of white supremacy, because the white supremacists, for some reason, have had some type of influence on black people, where black people pay attention to hair as a part of their body more than any other parts of their body as being most important within a context of what they call being black. But there's no logical reason why you would think about hair as being more important than your fingernails, or more important than your ears, or more important than your brain. But somehow we got stuck on this thing about, you know, what kind of license are you supposed to have this type of hair or that type of hair? Or, you know, when you get up in the morning, I mean, look in the mirror and see what your hair is doing. I mean, did you check to see what your feet are doing? Did you check to see what your toenails are doing? I mean, you know, why hair? Why hair? Because somebody made that decision many years ago, that somehow, hey, keep black people occupied with thinking about their hair. I mean, whether to cut it off, or whether to make it longer, or whether to put some weaves in it, or whether to stack some hay on top of it, or whether to put chairs on top of it, you know, but keep them thinking about their hair. Therefore, they won't have no time to think about anything else about how their brain works in solving problems. Because regardless of what kind of hair we adopt or not adopt, it doesn't appear to solve not a single problem that non-white people have. It doesn't appear to be in the problem-solving category. I haven't seen any evidence where it's in the problem-solving category. In economics, education, entertainment, name any area of activity and name a problem that how your hair is or is not solves a problem.
Okay. We got to wrap it right there, but listen to this. TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio the way it should be heard. Thanks for listening, and I'll tell you what, it sounded so nice we're going to do it twice, so we will catch you on the second hour of the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. and co-host Mr. Bobby on TalkTainmentRadio.com, radio the way it should be heard.